Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Pollination Podcast. Today we'll be covering the Save the Bees slogan and how it has become a household name even amongst non-beekeepers. You've seen it everywhere, Save the Bees, on t-shirts, on bumper stickers, on corporate ads, celebrities post honeybee emojis, and politicians even trot the phrase out for feel-good environmental policies. But here's an uncomfortable truth. Honeybees are not going extinct. In fact, globally, there are more honeybee colonies today than there were 50 years ago. Honeybees are a federally protected livestock. They're essentially cattle with wings. And every time you repeat the Save the Bee slogan, you may be forgetting about the bees that truly need our help, the native wild pollinators that are disappearing right under our noses. The whole Save the Bees craze really kicked off in 2006. When beekeepers across the U.S. started reporting mysterious mass die-offs of honeybee colonies. They called it colony collapse disorder. Overnight, it became front-page news. Scientists scrambled for answers, activists saw a rallying cry, and the media ran with one big dramatic headline. The bees are dying. It was a perfect storm. You had an adorable insect with a vital role in agriculture. You had human dependence. 1 out of every 3 bites of food is pollinated by bees. And you had mystery, which the media loves. Overnight, honeybees became environmental celebrities. Google searches for Save the Bees skyrocketed after 2007. Cheerios launched a campaign in 2011 giving away wildflower seeds. Burt's Bees built a whole brand identity on it. Even Haagen-Dazs ran a Help the Honeybees ice cream campaign. The slogan went viral. Here's a statistic that directly contradicts the idea that honeybees are dying out. According to the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization, the number of managed honeybee colonies worldwide has increased by over 80% since 1961. In the U.S., colony numbers have been stable to slightly rising since the term colony collapse disorder, or CCD, was first announced. Colony collapse disorder is an abnormal phenomenon that occurs when the majority of worker bees in a honeybee colony disappear, leaving behind a queen, plenty of food, and a few nurse bees to care for the remaining immature bees. It's a topic that is still hotly debated to this day with no clear answers as to its cause. Honeybees are doing fine because they have human caretakers. Beekeepers replace losses by making splits and raising new queens. Rebuilding lost hives each spring is common practice in the beekeeping world. As a commercial beekeeper myself, heavy hive losses in my own apiary can almost always be traced back to a lapse in good management practices that I myself caused. Meanwhile, while everyone's busy hashtagging Save the Bees, the native wild bee populations are collapsing. 1 in 4 North American native bee species is at risk of extinction. Some bumblebees, like the rusty-patched bumblebee, have declined by over 90% in the last 20 years. These species, which are critical to maintaining a well-balanced ecosystem, don't have beekeepers to rescue them. So why does Save the Bees stick around if it's misleading? Honestly, because it makes money. Corporations love it. A cereal company slaps a bee on a box, runs an ad campaign, and suddenly they're eco-heroes. Never mind that they sell products grown in pesticide-heavy monocultures propped up by shady corporations like Monsanto. Nonprofits love it. Bees are cute, photogenic, and a perfect poster child for fundraising campaigns. Who doesn't want to donate to Save the Bees? Honey packers and beekeepers love it. Buy honey, save the bees. Sounds noble, but it's also a marketing angle that drives sales. Let's also not forget that the USDA insures hives against CCD, a mostly self-reported insurance claim that is rarely verified from an independent beekeeper or by the USDA itself. If the public is primed to believe that bees are going extinct, they will be less critical about where their tax dollars are going. In 2017, Cheerios mailed out 1.5 billion wildflower seeds as part of their campaign. Sounds good, right? Except many of those seeds were non-native or even invasive in certain regions, potentially harming the very ecosystems they claim to protect. It's a sad story. While the slogan rakes in money and attention, actual wild pollinator conservation like restoring habitats, reducing pesticides, funding real science barely gets the scraps. And here's where it gets darker. All those rooftop hives in New York and San Francisco, they look good on Instagram, but they add thousands of new honeybee colonies to already crowded environments. And what happens when you flood an urban area with honeybees? Competition. Honeybees outcompete native bees for limited nectar and pollen. They also spread diseases like deformed wing virus to wild pollinators. So the very act of saving the bees by putting a hive on your roof can actually hurt the native bees that desperately need help. A 2023 study in Montreal found that high densities of urban honeybee hives reduced pollinator diversity by more than 40%. But hey, you got your Instagram photo. So let's get real. Want to save the bees? Don't buy a hive unless you're ready to manage livestock. Instead, plant native flowers in your yard. Reduce pesticide use. Support farmland set-asides for pollinator habitat. And maybe, most importantly, start talking about native pollinators, not just honeybees. Beekeepers save honeybees every day. We make splits to rebuild lost colonies. We medicate the hives to keep disease to a minimum. They're farm animals. And as long as there's a profit in maintaining a beehive, whether it be through honey, pollination, selling nukes, and the many different revenue streams that the market allows for, honeybees are going to be just fine. Beekeepers, we're going to do our job. We're going to keep them alive and healthy. What we need to talk about are the native pollinators that are not receiving the funds, the research, or the attention by the public to keep alive. They're truly the keystone species to maintaining a healthy ecosystem. And the problem with maintaining the wild native pollinators, let's just be honest, just not enough money in it. Beekeeping is a highly profitable industry. Maintaining native pollinators, not so much. So the next time that someone says, save the bees, you should ask them, which bees? The federally protected livestock that are thriving under human management? Or the wild native pollinators that are quietly disappearing while corporations cash in on a slogan? Save the bees makes us feel good. But feel-good slogans don't change ecosystems. Action does. And if we don't change our conservation efforts soon, the bees that truly need saving might just disappear forever. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Pollination Podcast. I'm Matthew Walker from Walk in the Woods Apiary. We hope we have answered a few of your beekeeping and pollinator questions. Please share your questions and comments to our Facebook page at the Pollination Podcast.